Hey everybody, it is Qcknd and welcome back to 5 Fact Friday. It is a bazillion degrees outside. I think it's 97 degrees outside, so excuse like this. I have to unplug the AC in order to film because it's really loud. So if this becomes a striptease, I'm sorry. It has been a really stressful week for I think everybody in America, so I'm going to address some things and then I'm going to move on to 5 Fact Friday. But thanks for everybody who messaged me about last week when I went to the Poconos, told me to have a nice vacation and stuff like that. We had a really nice vacation. There was one incident that I think occurred because I was a tattooed woman. I get a lot of questions from you guys, like how do you deal with stuff like that? How do you deal with like people on the streets harassing you from your tattoos? Different questions like that. I get a lot, and I even say in the video, it's hard to just like answer that with like one generic sentence or one 15-minute video because everyone has their own experiences and solutions, and my ideal reaction isn't always my actual reaction. So I filmed a video about everything that happened and what I did, and if you've ever had any experience like kind of living in the backwoods or living in a like really rural area or even being in the Poconos or somewhere different, sometimes sticking out can be really challenging, and I think that's something I experienced. So give this video a thumbs up if you want to see that video today on Friday. If not, I might post it tomorrow or the next day. But I filmed it a few days ago with like this same setup, and then didn't get a chance to edit it and put it up. So this video is going to come first. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that kind of video. It's not going to be Tattoo Talk Tuesday. I think the kids call them story time videos, a Dear Diary, which is for my own channel. So our first question of the day comes from someone on Snapchat who actually lives in Philadelphia. Hey girl. 5 Fact Friday, do you align with the Black Lives Matter movement? Can you speak about Black Lives Matter too? So I do align with the Black Lives Matter movement, and I feel like you guys out there who follow me, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what race, I think that there is an expectation of me to offer you guys entertainment. And when I was in school, they said that I was a communications major, and they said that even during the Great Depression, entertainment was never really subjected to like never really experienced any loss, because in times of despair, people turn to entertainment. And when 2008, when our economy crashed in America, Hollywood skyrocketed because people went to the movie theaters and people bought entertainment items, TVs, things like that, iPods, iPhones, because people want to have an escape when things happen, when tragedy happens. And with that in mind, I told myself, you know, offer people entertainment because they may be turning to you as an escape from what is happening. And all of us have our own politics and upbringings and education levels, and as someone who went to school almost 10 years ago, it's up to me to conduct my own education on these matters. And sometimes that's difficult, and sometimes when I hear people talking about politics, I exclude myself because I don't think I'm very educated on stuff like that, and I don't think that I have the right vernacular to talk about politics. And that is why a lot of times in the last month, when things have been really sketchy, you couldn't really turn to me and figure out what was happening, because I wanted to offer unbiased relief for you guys. And when the tragedy happened at Pulse nightclub, I put some stuff on Twitter, and I got one snap from someone on Snapchat, and it was like, hey, I know you don't have an obligation to us, but honestly, that night I checked your Instagram to see if you had said anything, and you didn't. And that upset me, because I think that my heart is with all of you guys who suffer because of that, and who suffer for being different, and who are in the LGBT plus community. And I felt like I disappointed myself too for not coming out and saying something. So then you're like, well, what if all the people affected by the tragedy just want a moment to forget, and they want to come onto my channel, and they want to have a moment to forget, and they want to be entertained? So that is often why I think me and maybe some of your other favorite YouTubers don't really put out much in regards to this stuff. And I think you guys know that I'm a huge supporter of LGBT plus, and I think you guys know that I try to create a really, really safe space for all of us on my YouTube channel. And I don't really ever vocalize like where I fall on that spectrum, because I don't know a ton about it, but I just want you guys to know that I try my best to make this a safe space. So with that, sometimes it's hard to know what to talk about and how to offer myself to you guys. But this last week, if you guys don't know, there were 2 shootings where 2 black men were shot by police, unrightfully so. And for me, I was born in Philadelphia. I was born in a neighborhood that is predominantly lower class white people. And I think, you know, you get born into these situations where there is a lot of racial tension, and even in the neighborhood now, it still exists. I still think when you walk through there, there's a lot of racial tension, but it's a lower class neighborhood, so a lot of this racial tension gets misconstrued. And when you put these people together who are lower educated and don't have access to the news and education, and they blame certain things on different races. If you grow up in an atmosphere like that, I understand that you can be misguided, and sometimes it takes becoming an adult to make your own decisions. However, I've always been a person who is really understanding and accepting of people, and people I get along with are just people I get along with, and making friends for me has always just been people who I understood and who understood me too, and it really never had anything to do with race, ever. So I stand with Black Lives Matter, and I think that a lot of people feel uncomfortable because they're like, oh, what about my life? Like, I'm not black, but like, I want my life to matter too. And I think all you have to know is that your life matters, but right now we need to bring up our black community and our friends of color, and we have to give them support too, because this has definitely all happened because of profiling and because of years of people being afraid of black people, or growing up in an environment that views black people negatively. And like I said, the neighborhood I grew up in, it's terrible. People are saying unrightful shit all the time, and I've never had any tolerance for somebody being offensive. And I think that every year my ability to talk about stuff like that grows stronger and stronger, and having a vernacular to tell your friends, like, that's offensive, that's inappropriate, you can't say that. Every year I think I am better at saying that. And it used to be like yo chill. And yo chill used to be something I would say. If my friend was popping off with the N-word, I would be like, yo chill. Can't say that. That's inappropriate. Yo chill. Or like, yo, none of that. And sometimes you just have to call out people. And I think that's important. And I think, I mean, what can we do? What is there to do? There was a pretty big Black Lives Matter protest last year while I was still in beauty school. I remember that. The city like shut down. People were afraid. City Hall closed early. People were afraid. And then it was a peaceful protest. And how do you diffuse that feeling? And how do you... And sorry, my camera died. So I just think that it's gonna take a ton of work to diffuse this idea that a black person is a scary person and that they're going to harm you, and that has to start with us and our friends and protecting our friends and valuing them. And I think that it's really hard because what do we say, and are we saying the wrong things, and what is our position? Like, if you are a white person, like, what can you say? And I just think if you are nervous, just be supportive. And they say, like, if you stand with neutrality, you stand with the oppressor. So I think just practicing a dialogue where you are protecting people who need to be protected right now, I think that that is valuable. And I saw this on Twitter, and I think that it's really true. Like, your life can be hard if you're a white person, but it's not hard because you're a white person. And your life can be hard and you can be a straight person, but your life isn't hard because you're a straight person. And I think that that is so true. And as a white woman, I think that there are a lot of forgivenesses that I am given just when I walk out the door, just for looking like me. And it's uncomfortable to have a conversation about your privilege. Like, you are privileged to be white, and some things just won't happen to you because of it. And recognizing that and then helping others is just something that might be uncomfortable, but something that has to be done. And I've lived in Philadelphia for the majority of my life, and this is a place of many different races and many different backgrounds, and I am so happy to be here in a place where I can be influenced by many different cultures and experience many different people every single day. But I also understand that a lot of us come from places where we might just be with our own race and culture and background and religion all the time. So it's important to step out of that, even mentally, and think about other people. So that is my view on Black Lives Matter. They do, and I stand with the entire thing as much as I physically can. If you haven't heard a lot from me about it, it's just because that I try to offer an oasis to you guys, a safe place where you might not have to think about it. If you are experiencing tragedy, if you are thinking about it all the time, I want you to be able to be like, well, what's Qcknd talking about today? Bring me to another place. And I think that's true. And I was watching another YouTuber this morning that said, you know, what is our responsibility as people who have a reach of 10,000, 90,000, a million? Like, what is our responsibility to people? But it's hard because you have to decide, do I offer entertainment, or does this become a political thing? And you guys will snap me and say, hey, I know that you don't talk about politics, but what do you think about this? And it's a slippery slope, because once I start talking about something, there's going to be someone who comes in and try to diffuse it. And I don't want this to be an argumentative place. I want this to be a safe place. That is my view. Stand with your friends and support them and protect them. Anyway, next week I will be traveling to New York City in order to get the first color session on my back tattoo, and I'm really excited about that. I'm nervous to travel because tensions are high and I'm kind of feeling like something bad's gonna happen, but you just gotta keep going and you gotta get out there and you have to do your normal stuff with your freaking life. So I didn't want to cancel my appointment or change it, so I'll be getting my first session on my collar back tattoo. And I got a question on Snapchat that said, can I still get a tattoo on my back with back acne? And I think it really just depends on, oh my god, Black Lives Matter, and now I'm talking about back knee. So I think it just really depends on your artist preference and what they're comfortable with, and also the amount of back knee that you have. I know some people have it really severe, and then there are people like me who have it like a little more mild. Last week I posted a picture of a blackhead that I had on my back that John popped, and it left like a pretty deep hole that you could see because it was in my tattoo. But you can also see in the picture that the tattoo isn't damaged, and I think having acne on your back is going to be natural and it's not going to affect your tattoo unless you're like digging back there. So I think, you know, taking the right steps to clear your back tattoo, showering after you go to the gym, different things like that, using a special body wash, maybe a prescription body wash. I know Proactive makes a body formula, and the short time that I used Proactive, I think that it worked on me, but it was also really expensive. So maybe just like treating your back for a while, getting the tattoo, and then going back to usual. Diet has a lot to do with acne, and I think maybe taking really active steps to clearing your back, even temporarily so you can get the tattoo, can be helpful. It kind of just depends on how bad it is. My back knee is super mild, mostly like around like where I can reach with my hand, which I assume is just like from me touching my back, nervous gesture, hanging my hand like this. That's where a lot of my back knee accumulates. But mine isn't really bad. Showering with Dr. Bronner's is really helpful because it is a stronger kind of soap, so it does work well with cleaning out pores, etc. A loofah, anything like that. But, you know, that's just me. If it's really bad, I don't think you can get it, but definitely talk to your tattoo artist about their comfort level and their experience. And then if you can't afford going to a dermatologist, doing some online research and seeing what works for you. So the last question I'm going to answer is, when did you know you wanted to do YouTube? And, alright, it's getting kind of hot. So, when did I know I wanted to do YouTube? So, I posted 2 videos. I think they're back to back. I think I posted them one day apart from each other. I'll leave the link. The videos are how to make YouTube videos on the cheap, all about my YouTube channel, something like that. I talk about the origin of Qcknd, the origin of my Tumblr, creating my YouTube videos. I talk about the big video that got my YouTube started. I talk about all those. I'll leave both of the links for both of those videos down below. I think they're both valuable because when I started my YouTube channel, I was filming on an iPod Touch and just in front of a big window, and that's how I made my first like 10 videos. So I don't think you need a ton of money to know you're gonna make YouTube videos. I don't think you need really fancy equipment, really fancy camera. If you have a good idea and determination, those 2 videos, I'll leave the links for them. My first couple videos kind of started by accident. I've always had a Tumblr. Before I had Tumblr, I had Xanga. Before that, I have LiveJournal. I always had some sort of blog where I just kind of kept track of my life. I have really bad handwriting and I'm not really good at spelling, so keeping a diary was really challenging for me. I used to have a journal. I had a couple journals, and a lot of times I had to use pictures just because some spelling and stuff was really challenging for me. So when my family got a home computer it was just really natural and organic for me to switch to that, where I could Google words I didn't know how to spell and come up with definitions, and obviously everything was really legible and easy to read. So just from journal to computer to Tumblr, starting to create video was just the next step in this whole sort of process of keeping track of my life and keeping like online documentation of everything I do every day. And it's something that's really comforting to me and something that brings me a lot of relief, because there are plenty of times where I just go back on my Tumblr this date 2 years ago and just read everything I was doing. And there are things where I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I was working on that, or I'm so glad I overcame that, or things are so different. And that is humbling and just helps me as a person who struggles with all of the above. Sometimes it's just great to know that I have myself and that I am grounded. And I got another question on my Snapchat today that said, who is your biggest role model? And this kind of just leans into who's the biggest role model in your life right now. And it always comes back to me, because I've always had myself and kept myself in order somehow. John, I'm filming right now. I'm filming right now. Where'd you get a tank top?
I cut the sleeves off to make a sweatband for my head.
Cutting the sleeves off your shirt is my thing.
I needed it because I couldn't see. Because my glasses just continuously were filling up with sweat.
It's my thing.
And it's so fucking hot today.
I'll turn the air conditioning on in a second.
I'm gonna take a shower.
Okay, I love you. The coffee plant was dying, so I put a peach in the pot. I'm hoping that the death of one is the life of the other. Is that how gardening works? So YouTube was just the next step. And it wasn't until I was fired from my job last year that I really dove into YouTube and told myself, like, this is a hobby that I want to explore, because it became harder to keep track of my Tumblr because I don't have my own computer. I like do a lot of stuff from my iPod Touch or my phone. So typing on your mobile keyboard has always been really hard for me. I like to have a whole keyboard, like a piano to play upon. So it was a lot easier for me to convey visuals with lecture, if you will. So making a YouTube channel just really came into play. And there's a ton of stuff like Tattoo Talk Tuesday and 5 Fact Friday, things like that, where I answer questions a lot, and the first time I'll get a question, I'll like really think about it and answer it and use examples and research and all that stuff. And then I'll get asked the same question a couple weeks later, and I'll answer it without the same enthusiasm. And then by the fourth time I answered it, I'm like offended. I'm like, why didn't they read all the other good answers I put out there? So instead of feeling discouraged, it's great to have a video archive of everything where I don't just copy and paste and throw out things like that. I have the videos and you can refer to them, or I can offer them to people. And I think that that's great, because when people are like, how do you heal your tattoos? I think it's so much better that I can offer a visual and that it can be indexed and archived and put on YouTube so people who aren't in my little circle can find it and reference it as well. So that brought me satisfaction. And then having YouTube is also great because I think that you guys are all really cool people and I have the privilege of interacting with you. So all of that's really satisfying. That's how my YouTube channel started, and I'll leave you guys with that today as John is home and I have the AC off, and that is unfortunate for him. and me as well. This is 5 Fact Friday. Give this video a thumbs up if you wanted to see that tattoo Dear Diary video, and I'll post that as fast as possible. I love you guys so much. Leave comments down below and subscribe. We are so close to 100,000 subscribers. So tell your mom, tell your neighbor, tell your dog to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see where this channel goes. I love you guys so much, and until next time, bye.